This is the Bad Reputation Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes on your smartphone or tablet, featuring the most up-to-date reputation management, social media, and entrepreneurial information on the web. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Todd Collins Official. And now, the host of Bad Reputation, the Reputation Rockstar, Todd Collins. In 3, 2, 1.
All right. I was super excited about this podcast because I have in office only 2 days a week our interns, Molly and Adrian. Guys are both how old?
20
years old. I wish I could go back and be 20 years old again, but I can't. But it was very interesting because I got to meet both of them. They both have very special skill sets and the things that they can do within our agency, and I feel like they're learning a lot already. But I wanted to introduce them because you guys are going to see a lot more of them. We're Facebook Live right now. If you want to jump over to my Facebook page at Todd Collins Official, you can see them on camera feeling extremely uncomfortable, which I'm doing that on purpose because I want them to get used to being in front of a camera and on live video, because this is where I personally think the world is going. People are more comfortable being on camera. People need to be more comfortable shooting video to help not only build their personal brand, but they need to help build their business, right? Shake your heads, yes? It's funny, dude. All right, so here's the thing. If you guys want to ask questions, if you guys want to, if you have any comments or anything else like that, be sure to do that. You can do that on the Todd Collins Official Facebook page, but we're going to get right into it. Molly, we already know your name. You don't need to tell me that, but what school do you go to?
I go to Stevenson University.
Okay, and that used to be Villa Julie.
Yes.
For old people like myself. And what's your major at Stevenson?
I am business communication.
Okay, that sounds broad.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a broad major.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that just a teeny tiny bit? What would you say more focuses in that business? What did you say? Business
communication.
Business communication.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So within that, we take a lot of like management and marketing classes, as well as like design courses. And then we also learn about like different cultures and how to communicate with them, and how to also communicate with ourselves and the people that we just surround ourselves with.
Wow. So you're learning basically how to interact with people
mm-hmm.
within a business.
Yeah.
You got to be taught that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's not human nature, right? You have to act differently in business, right?
Yep.
Now, as far as when you said talking to them, do you mean in business language?
You definitely learn the business language in your business courses, but like through the communication courses, like if you're dealing with someone from a different culture, there's certain things that you don't want to say or do that will like offend them.
Right.
So we have to learn that as well.
Now that part I find very interesting. I like that. Yeah. All right. What made you choose that major?
Well, it was a long journey to get to that major, but I ended up choosing it because I realized that like communication might not have been my strong suit, but it was definitely something that I was interested in. Like I really wanted to learn about cultures and how to interact with them, and like how to incorporate that into the business world. That way, when I get out of college, I know what I'm doing and like know how to interact with those people.
That's cool. So, and you know kind of where, from a standpoint where you want to go, you're going to be dealing with people in different cultures, right?
Yes.
So it's good to kind of have that experience. Now, do you guys role play to figure that out, or how do you practice for something like that?
So mainly through the textbooks that professors choose, and they tend to choose like really, really well written like books from people outside of
You don't have to
American
lie.
culture. No, I genuinely like the book
Okay,
that
good.
I used, but we just watch like documentaries and videos on like people going into different cultures and learning what offends them and what makes them, tick.
The videos that you're watching, are these free videos that anybody can watch?
Yeah, they're mainly on YouTube.
Okay, so the professor, let me
Yeah.
correct that, is pulling videos from YouTube and showing you guys that to educate you.
Yeah.
Sign me up. So you're paying the college and the professor to show you YouTube videos on how to deal with people in business that may be dealing in different cultures.
Yeah. And then
all right.
There's also some professors that have been in situations like that. Like I had a both marketing and management professor that worked for McCormick,
Okay.
And they brought their experience from McCormick in the business world and how they communicated with their like higher ups and everything,
Uh-huh.
and like taught that to us.
Yeah.
Some of them just show us YouTube videos.
Yeah. It goes back to the YouTube videos.
Yeah.
It's self-education, right?
Pretty much.
Because I'm a college dropout. I'm not telling you guys to drop out of college. I'm just saying I'm a college dropout. Majority of the stuff that I've learned has been self-taught, self-educated, and then through experience and work. So that's the part that I'm excited to talk about as well. After we talk to Adrian and talk to her a little bit about what she does, because you guys were a little surprised, right? It's not what you expected being out in the real business world, right?
No.
And we'll get to that in a second. Adrian.
Yes.
My current internal fun time videographer. She's not working necessarily under Ad Rock right now because Ad hasn't been in, but he will be. But Adrian has done some two cool videos for me so far. And we've had a lot of fun doing that. And it's been cool seeing you move through that so quickly. Just giving you the content, I do that on purpose. I kind of throw you to the wolves on purpose because I want to see how you handle the pressure. And both times you've come out on top. Same thing with you, Molly. I'm not going to leave you out of that. Both things that we've given you are the things that we've given you guys to do. You guys have knocked it out of the park. Tell me a little bit about you. You go to what school?
UMBC.
UMBC.
Mm-hmm.
That's been the same name, right? That has never changed names, unlike Village Lilly / Stevenson University.
No.
UMBC. What's your major there?
I'm information systems major.
Okay. Now that's a little bit more technical, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
So there are 3 branches of like computer majors, mostly. I don't want to say 3, maybe 4 at UMBC. So there's computer engineering, computer science, and then information systems and business tech administration. I chose information systems because it's a mix of like computer science, but also the business aspect. But you learn like some coding, some systems architecture classes, but you are required to take a management class, econ, and accounting.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's like a mix of computer science, but way less coding.
Yeah, because people aren't using coding as much as they used to, correct? Is it not as much coding going on, or is that, or are you finding like, because what I find is there's a lot of jobs out there that are available for people who still know how to code, from like building mobile applications to creating software to make things easier and more simple. But you're telling me it sounds like it's a little bit less focused on the coding. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So computer information, is that right?
Information systems.
Information systems.
Yes.
So does that mean that you're going to be helping design software?
Yes.
Okay. Have you worked on anything yourself yet?
No, I haven't.
Do you have any ideas?
Not right now, I don't.
Okay. If you do, can you share them with me first before you take them to any other larger companies, so then I could vet them for you and decide whether or not I'll just keep them for all of us?
I'll be sure to send you a text.
Okay, excellent. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. So let's talk about so far what you guys have learned from an interning standpoint. So the first day, I kind of took you guys on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do that, and it was good that we picked Tuesdays. And this again, that we're back to a Tuesday. And I'm giving you guys a break today. I'm not going to drag you around to a bunch of meetings, but on that Tuesday, I took you guys kind of through the ringer a little bit of what my day looked like. Right now, that day, Adrian was the last intern to leave. At that point, we finished up at a Susan G. Komen event, right, on their opening of their new offices in Hunt Valley. From there, Adrian went home, right? From there, I went to another meeting in Carroll County. And then from there, I came back, grabbed my car, went to the gym. And then from there, went home, right? In between that, you were still editing video, right? And then went home and was still working till 2, 3 in the morning. So that was still going on, while you guys were coming down. That's a normal day. So that's the preparation of the great stuff that you guys get to look forward to when you come out of college, right? If you want to do that. Do you guys have any aspirations of being, I guess, like an entrepreneur or doing something on your own, or do you want to go directly in and work for someone else?
I guess for me, it was the plan was to directly work for someone else, but I'm super interested in like starting something for myself eventually, not right away,
Right.
but eventually, like
Okay.
after I get enough experience with like other companies and see how they run,
Sure.
then maybe.
Okay.
Personally, I don't really know right now. I'm still kind of on the fence of whether I want to go right into working or if I want to like go to grad school, maybe start something for myself. At this point, I really not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always look at it like this. If you've got something where you feel like you could start something on your own, this is always the time to do it in that age range, because you guys can fail like 10, 12, 13 times and still like go get a job. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like you could try so many different things independently by yourselves that you could start over so many times. And a lot of people, would get kind of getting off a business standpoint, but more of a self-help standpoint. I've started over multiple times. And so we live multiple lifetimes, in my opinion. Like we have different lives, right? Like if you think back 10 years ago, what were you doing? You were 10 years old, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your focus was a lot different than it is now, right? And your focus is going to be a lot different when you're 30. And that's one of the major things I want to talk about, because I've been talking about this before you guys even started, was talking about the 20-year-old consumer and talking about businesses preparing for you guys in 10 years, because you're their prime customer in 10 years. You're the person that they want to get your money into their business in that 10-year span. But they're still trying to figure out like where you guys are. Where do you guys hang out? How do you guys make a purchase? Where are you spending your time online? They want to know those things. And I felt like this would be a good way for you guys to just share your opinions, because look, you're two different people. But my assumption is the way that you guys work, from a purchasing standpoint to a review standpoint to a social media standpoint, yeah, they differ a little bit because we've discussed it, but they're pretty similar. But there were some things I really wanted to key in on. So the one thing that I wanted to talk about was like your the 10-year plan, right? Like your expectations of your job. Like where do you guys see yourself in 10 years? I know that's kind of a hard question to answer. So just give me like 3 bullet points. Give me like job, family, education in 10 years when you're 30.
Mm-hmm.
Job.
Okay, so for a job, I guess somewhere in the marketing field.
In the marketing field, right? And you had mentioned the government too, right? Like that was something that was some interest to you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay, education, like furthering your education. You're gonna go further with it, or are you gonna be like college? I'm good.
Right now, I'm 100% good, but the idea of a master's is there, but I don't see it to be necessary.
Okay. And then as far as family, you're gonna be more focused on your career. You're gonna be, would you say family first, then career?
That's hard.
I know it's a tough one, right?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I definitely want a family by 10 years, but I mean, in 10 years I'll be 31, so that's not too pressing to have a big family, but hopefully something. Not like too crazy.
So do you want a big family? You come from how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I only have one.
You only have one.
A very small family.
Do you want a big family?
No.
Okay, smart choice. Don't outnumber yourself. What about you, Adrian?
Job, I'm not sure right now. Like, I'm still looking, because for information systems, there's so many jobs on the market, or at least that's what they want you to think in college.
Right.
And education, I think I do want to get a master's degree, definitely. My original plan before was to become a doctor, but I'm not going to do that. So I'll just stick to getting a master's degree. Family, by 30, I think I would want to be married. But if nothing happens, like whatever.
Yeah, because we know your boyfriend's probably going to be listening to this episode, so let's not put any pressure on him.
Yeah, no. If it doesn't happen by 30, like it's not going to matter to me. Like I'm just going with the flow right now.
That's cool.
Yeah,
and so it's cool because it sounds to me like you guys are more focused towards like enjoying your lives, family time, things like that, than you guys are more towards the career things. Like it's an aspiration. Okay, I want my master's, but it's not something that's guaranteed. Like you don't have to have it, right? Like you much rather just be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And see that's one of the defining differences I think that in your generation maybe is a little bit different than my generation and the generations before us. Is we put a lot of effort, a lot of emphasis on work. That work, 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 work. That's what you need to do, and that's what's going to make you happy. And the more money you have, the happier you're going to be. And I feel like your generation is kind of a little bit different from that standpoint. I think you guys are more like quality of life, more important. Then comes the job, then comes the money. But I'd much rather have a much better quality of life. I'd much rather travel, spend time with my friends and my family, and things of that nature. And I feel like that your generation is kind of really keyed in on that. And I also think that you guys are savvier than a lot of the other generations that are out there. I think you guys are much, much more intelligent consumers, not as easily tricked.
No.
I feel like you can smell, quote unquote, I'm not going to cuss. This is not going to be an explicit episode because I'm respecting these two. I feel like your generation can smell bull crap a mile away.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think previous generations, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I find that very, very interesting. So let's talk about the real meat and potatoes here, because this is what all the business owners that are going to listen to this episode, this is what they're going to want to know. Okay. So from a social media standpoint, I'm going to hit Molly first, then we're going to go to Adrian. I'm not going to hit you. I mean, I'm going to hit you from a standpoint of question asking. From a social media standpoint, from where you spend the most time to the least time, run through me your avenues where you spend the time.
Well, I thought about this on the way here this morning. Not sure if YouTube is considered social media.
100% YouTube would be.
I do not watch TV anymore. YouTube, I haven't watched TV since high school, so YouTube is definitely my like go-to. Then after that, I would actually say I'm kind of old school. I like Facebook. Facebook Messenger is like the way to communicate with friends and family. Then after that, probably Instagram and then Snapchat.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. What do you, so you the first thing that you said out of your was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say the last time you actually even watched television.
I mean, it's usually on in my house, but I don't watch it. Like, I'm usually on my laptop watching YouTube.
What about listen to the radio?
I love the radio.
You listen, okay.
But
Go
the
ahead.
thing is, when I when I'm in my car
Yeah.
and I'm driving,
Yeah.
I use Spotify.
Okay.
But if I'm home, I actually have like an old school radio in my room that
Yeah,
I
yeah.
listen to, because I don't have a speaker or anything like that.
Technically, you could set your mobile phone up to your stereo and listen to Spotify through that. You know that, right?
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, see? So when's the last time you heard a commercial on the radio?
It's been a while. When I'm in the car with my parents.
Okay. When's it-
probably.
Do you remember the commercial?
No.
Okay, interesting. When's the last time you saw a commercial on YouTube?
Every single time I watch a YouTube video,
Mm-hmm.
unless it has the skip option.
Yeah, and then you hit skip,
Yeah.
so you don't watch it.
No.
But if you have to watch it, you do.
If I have to watch it, I usually just like tune it out
Mm-hmm.
and like don't pay attention.
Mm-hmm. What about Facebook ads? When you see Facebook ads, what do you do?
They-
If it interests you though.
If it interests me, I don't know. I don't really click on them on
Yeah.
Facebook because I'm like afraid of viruses and stuff that
I
can
get it.
happen. But if it interests me, I'll probably like look at it for a few seconds, but usually I'll be scrolling past it in like a few more seconds.
Gotcha. Instagram.
Usually on Instagram, even if it does interest me, I always get rid of it with the option of like, don't show me this again, because it just blocks the feed, and I'm just trying to look at pictures of like friends and family and things that interest me.
Right. So all about the friends and family thing on Facebook.
Yeah.
When you're trying to find something, answer a question, make a purchase, where are you going?
To look up something, usually Google first, because Google will provide you with the different stores and options of price ranges.
Okay.
But when I'm going to buy something, I actually rather go to the store.
Oh,
than
great.
online.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you look on Amazon or eBay to save yourself money? Or do you just say, screw it, I'm going into the store and I'm buying what I want, I'm getting out?
Sometimes I'll go on Amazon, and when it's cheaper, I like hate myself because then I still
Right.
go to the store. I rather have it like
You want to
right
see
then and
it,
there.
touch
Yeah, I
it,
wanna
feel it,
see
smell it. Got
and,
it.
Like, yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. All right, cool. Adrian, moving over to you. And I was interested in that. So YouTube is really your number one go-to,
Hmm.
followed by Facebook. Go ahead. Adrian.
I think my number one is probably Twitter.
That is very interesting. You
Yeah.
threw me off on that one, but that's cool. Okay.
And then I do Snapchat, then Instagram.
But you spend a lot of time on YouTube as well, don't you?
I do, but it's probably not replacing my TV. I don't watch TV, but I watch like Netflix.
Okay. So this is the one thing that I want all our listeners to understand. You're not watching television. Neither one of you are.
No.
My guest would tell me if I brought another 10, 20-year-olds in here, they're all going to tell me the same thing. So why do you think businesses are still running TV commercials on TV?
I think it's because like probably our parents and like the generations like above them still really like TV.
Yeah, they're not targeting you guys yet,
Yeah,
are they?
No.
But they need to start thinking about
Mhm.
targeting you guys, right?
Yeah.
Getting into that 10-year plan, right? They need to start doing that. Are you seeing some brands? Are you seeing some brands like over and over again? Like, are you starting to see, like, a perfect example would be Geico. Do you see Geico?
I hear it on Spotify, like
Yeah.
on the radio.
Okay. So that might be one brand that's starting to kind of branch out and see that. And it's just interesting to see that like Toyota, same kind of thing. Like they try to catch you early enough where like, okay, we want you to buy a Toyota Corolla, Toyota Camry. Now we want you to buy a Lexus, this, that, and everything. We want to take you through the levels, right? But Twitter, I find that very interesting. Twitter is your go-to.
Yeah.
Why?
There's a lot of things on Twitter. It varies from like funny posts to serious social like things that the media doesn't really show you on TV, what my parents watch at least and have on. Some things are like, let's see. Gosh. It's really weird. Like they have funny posts on there, cute videos. And some things I go on there to like brighten my day, but I kind of look at it like reading it is like my newspaper, if that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense, and I'll tell you why that makes sense. So yesterday was a pretty big day for this country, right? Setting aside, look, Adrian just kind of looked at it like, what the hell happened yesterday? From a standpoint of whether or not you guys like our president or don't like our president or whatever it is, we some interesting stuff happened with North Korea yesterday that we were able to kind of show that having some business experience running a country might be beneficial, right? Because you're creating relationships and you're bringing people together. So something interesting happened yesterday, and here's the funniest thing is that in my head, I close myself off from the news. I just do, right? Because to me, it depresses the crap out of me. Like it really does. Like I'd much rather sit, and we've talked about this, I'd much rather watch Full House and Seinfeld and everything else and fill my brain with happiness and giggles and everything else like that instead of seeing the news. But yesterday it could not be ignored. I ended up watching Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un shaking hands on Facebook. I did not watch this on television. I did not listen to this on the radio. I watched this on Facebook live, and then you could watch it on Twitter, and you could watch it on Instagram, and you could watch all these different channels and avenues. And I just thought that was interesting because you're right. You can get your news, your daily news, in so many different places now that you're not picking up a newspaper. And I think in the reality of things, newspaper was set to be disrupted anyway by the internet, right? Mm-hmm. Just like taxi cabs were set to be disrupted by Uber, just like hotels were set to be disrupted by Airbnb, right? And the list goes on. My question to you guys is, what's the next vertical that's set for disruption? I'm going to take a drink of water while you guys ponder that.
I don't really know.
Let's not have dead air here.
I don't really know. That's like...
What would make your life easier? That's currently not easy now.
That's tough. That's a tough question.
It's a tough question.
Yeah.
One of mine is self-driving cars, which is already kind of happening. But I personally, truly believe in the next 10 years that you're going to have more self-driving cars on the road. Yeah. I think that's something that's going to happen. I think it's going to help. It's going to help limit car accidents. But at the same time, I think it's going to also help from a convenience standpoint. I think more people, as they become more affordable, more people will opt and say, okay, I can buy a $20,000 car, right, that I have to drive myself, or I'm going to buy a $20,000 car that will drive me where I need to go safely, based on at least how it drives, proven that it's going to get me there safely and I'll pay the same price. Just like you look at automatics and manual transmissions. Mm-hmm. How many people still know how to drive a manual transmission that are coming up? You don't really need to anymore, right? So it was set for disruption. It was more work.
Mhm.
So I always feel like verticals that are set for disruption are things for less physical work. That's what's set for disruption, right?
Mhm.
So or verticals that are highly escalated from a price standpoint. So like hotels were charging a massive premium, taxi cabs are charging a massive premium, right? So anything that anybody is charging these massive premiums, I think are always going to be set for disruption, just like TV. Satellite television, DirecTV, Comcast, they were all charging massive amounts of money to consumers, and consumers finally said, that's enough. We've had enough. We're going to stop. We're going to go to Netflix. We're going to pay $7.99 or $8.99 or $11.99 or whatever it is. Now they're still okay with doing that and consuming this content instead of watching this. And then again, they had to then pivot. Those verticals had to pivot. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about reviews for a second because we really haven't touched on that. Are they talking about reputation management or online reviews in college with you guys or in
No,
any of these classes?
no,
Nothing.
no, not anything. Like I took an advertising class
Okay.
in the fall semester, and you think in that they would teach you like, oh well, you have to pay attention to what people are saying. That way you can change your ads and the way that you word things, so like you attract more people. But we just learned the basic like how to design an ad that would draw like attention to it. Nothing about what people think about it.
Yeah. So it was more just like a brand awareness ad. It wasn't really like,
Yeah.
okay. What about you? Nothing.
Not really.
Adrian, sorry.
Yeah, no. I feel like my management class touched on it maybe once, but I think that was it. If they did, they didn't really talk about like what you guys specialize.
Sure.
in.
Mhm.
So it wasn't really anything big.
Yeah. And I mean, the reputation management vertical is still kind of a new thing. It's still something that is consistently evolving anyway. So what I'm curious about is where do you guys go when you're going to make a buying decision, right? What review platforms do you guys look at first before you go ahead and make a buying decision? We'll start with restaurants because we have a lot of restaurant clients, but let's start with restaurants. What are the first places you go?
For me, since I use Google a lot, it always has Google reviews underneath of the picture and like the address and the times
Right.
and everything. So I usually look at Google reviews first, and that's usually it. I don't really go anywhere else, but there's times where like if my parents are very interested in like a restaurant, I'll go on Yelp. But
Okay.
very rarely do I go on Yelp.
Okay.
I agree. I usually do check the Google reviews, but also the Yelp reviews.
Okay.
mostly. Because my sister posts reviews of restaurants we go to, and Yelp has the option to like upload your own pictures.
Sure.
So I see what other people have posted, and I'm like, oh, if that looks yummy, I'm gonna go and eat that.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't look good, then I'm gonna like choose not to go there.
Right. And so I would say that you guys are more trusted, or you guys trust more of what the audience or the people that are out there, right? That are reviewing these places. Not, and we're just saying restaurants for now, but you trust their opinions over, let's say, the restaurant saying things about themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
if we say we're the best cheeseburger,
I'm probably gonna argue that you're not.
let's see the reviews.
Yeah.
Do the reviews back it up, right?
Mhm.
Do the reviews from the public back it up? I personally do not think that it's ever going to go away. I think it's only going to advance from a standpoint of like, I personally think that there's going to be video reviews. You know, there's going to be 30-second video reviews. Instead of you having to type out your online review, you can just do a video, a 15-second, 30-second online review and post that video onto that page. TM, trademark that. If somebody tries to steal it, it is what it is. But I think somebody already tried to do it and it failed epically from what I understand. I don't think we're ready for it yet. I don't think it's there yet. I think we're still in that tech stage where we feel a lot easier texting. And the thing is that that's one thing that I also feel like has been kind of dropped off and left out is that you guys will text more than you will call. Yes?
Yeah.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you wanted to ask someone a question that would maybe take 10 seconds to get the answer, you will text with them for 3 minutes to get that same answer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I just get honestly, I get super nervous to talk on the phone, even if I know the person. Like, I had to call my doctor's office yesterday.
Yeah.
And when the lady picked up the phone, I instantly was nervous. And
Yeah.
it's like I forgot what I was trying to say. So I wish that they would have a text service so I could text them and be like, hey, I need to make an appointment.
Right.
But
Right.
they don't.
I agree with what she's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to call my doctor the other day and make an appointment, but as soon as the lady picked up, I was like, oh, can I make an appointment for this month? Next week maybe? I don't know.
It seems to me the people at the doctor's offices that take the phone calls are just miserable people anyway.
They're so mean.
And anybody that listens to this episode that is that person, I really apologize. But I feel like you guys, like, you just are not happy at what you're doing. And I don't blame you. But no, I agree. I mean, here's the thing. I would say it doesn't matter what business you are, if you don't have chat activated on your website or online scheduling for your patients or for your customers or anything else like that, you're really kind of dropping the ball. Because what I feel like your generation is looking for is convenience and speed, right?
Yeah.
Like fast. I need it as quick as possible. Like, how irritated do you get when you're in a bad cell service or when you're in around some bad Wi-Fi?
That irritates me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shout out Stevenson real quick. Their Wi-Fi is so bad, and you can be sitting in your apartment trying to type up your homework and submit it, and it just won't work.
It's just massive amounts of bandwidth. My assumption would be
it's so irritating.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes on the way here, actually, for example, I was using Google Maps, and
I've told you to use Waze, but regardless of that, go ahead. It's owned by Google.
It was offline, and it said I would be here in like 20 minutes, and then it finally went back online, and it went up to 30 minutes because of traffic. And I was like, oh, okay, so my bad cell service was telling me it would take like 10 minutes less. Instead, it was like 10 minutes more, and I was stuck in traffic, and it was really crappy.
Yeah, now if you think back 10 years ago, not a big deal.
No.
Now, if I'm not getting what I need right now, text message, right? If you text somebody, think about it this way, right? You text somebody and they don't text you back right away. Yeah, exactly. Your boyfriend, again, Adrian, is listening to this episode and he's going, yeah, don't bring me up. The situation comes down to that, right? Our assumption is that we know they saw it because it says red.
Yeah.
Right? Like, come on, text me back. Like, what is going on here? Hello? Right? Your moms or dads do it. My dad does it. He's 76 and he's like, hello? And I'm like, yeah, 3 seconds. Okay? I know the response time. I have a good fast response time. But that's really what our attention spans have dropped down a little bit, because I feel like we're almost spoiled now from a standpoint of, like, we expect. Our expectations are good Wi-Fi, good service, good reviews. And that's just kind of the world that we live in. The expectations are higher for you guys than everybody else. And again, I feel like that's because you guys are savvier buyers. Your expectations are higher because I feel like your intelligence levels are a little bit higher. It's just the evolution of the human being from my point of view. Renner, who's 4, my son, can easily pick up phone 4 and navigate through a mobile device to YouTube Kids, to the App Store, can pick a game, can download an app, can watch videos, knows what he wants to watch, can turn a Roku on, can go to Hulu, can go to Netflix, pick out his episode and play the episode that he wants. I find that very interesting. And I'm not going to limit him, right? Because I know that's where the world's going. So why would I limit him? Don't do that. Don't touch the phone. You're 4. Where is he going? What do you think he's going to be doing in 20 years? Seriously, right? I mean, honestly, we're probably going to have eye contacts that we put in our eye, and we won't even use phones anymore. We'll be able to just bring up Google right by blinking our left eye and our right eye. Regardless of that, we know that there's a lot of things set for disruption. We know that you guys trust what the population is saying about businesses, and that's how you guys make your buying decisions. You said you shop more going into a store. Is that right? I mean, but you do sometimes you're a little right. What about you, Adrian? Are you more of an online shopper?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it depends on what I'm buying.
Okay.
For example, if I'm just buying like small things that I don't wear, mostly Amazon.
Okay.
But if I'm trying to find clothes, I would probably go into the mall and try to find it because I would rather try it on and see if it works. Unless if I can't find it at the mall, then I will look on Amazon, but look at the reviews.
Okay.
Because I don't want to buy something that has really crappy reviews and saying like, oh, it doesn't fit as expected, and it's run smaller than the size chart, and that's just not for me.
Okay. Yeah. But you could return it, like even if you it was a risky purchase, right? And you were saving money, you could return it technically with Amazon, right? Especially with Prime, like right back again, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to like waste my time.
Yeah. So you guys going into the stores, right, or going to the restaurants, do you feel like, and this might be too early to ask you this, but do you feel like customer service has changed a little bit?
Maybe a little bit, not like a whole lot.
Okay.
But I think they're advancing in the ways that they like handle things. Like there's certain restaurants that have that like pay at your table, which is super convenient because then you don't really need to interact with people.
Right.
Or the stores that have self-checkout. I prefer those over the other ones.
Why is that?
It's not.
So you don't have to interact with someone?
No, like I don't mind that.
Yeah, you
it's
do.
just maybe a little bit. But like I think it's more just because at least I know that like I'm bagging the items the way I want them to be bagged. Or like if I'm in a hurry and there's a line, at least the self-checkout never has a line because people are trying to get in and out. So
you're in control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah. I don't want to wait. If I'm buying like, for example, like 3 or 4 things, I don't want to wait behind a person who has like 15 things or 20 things.
Yeah.
I just want to do it myself.
Yeah. So self-checkout makes sense.
Yeah.
And see, it's interesting because if we brought in 50, 60-year-olds in here, they would say the opposite. It's too confusing. I can't do this. Why is it keep saying weigh that item? I don't understand. And I don't have the coupon for that. I'd rather talk to a person and have them do it for me. So it's just the generational, changes that are happening. And these conveniences, we find them to be advantageous to our life, but others don't. I think that always comes back to that we fear change.
Yeah.
Most people do, right? Most people fear change. They don't like change. What can, and this is kind of where we'll tail end it. What can businesses that aren't focusing on you guys right now, what can they do to earn your loyalty now? What can they change in their business to start earning your loyalty now?
I think advertise on the social media platforms that people of our generation use, because then like their name gets out there. And then another one, I guess, this goes along with what I said, but make yourself known. It doesn't even have to be through like a social media post, but like somehow I managed to get like emails from people that like different companies, and I've never heard of them, but like as long as they show that they're reputable, then like I might be more willing to go and like look out their products and maybe test it out. But if they're not making themselves known to us, then we don't know that they're out there. Or if we do, we just don't care.
Right.
So.
Right.
I can kind of agree with what she's saying.
You concur?
I concur, yes. But I have something different to say.
Okay.
I notice a lot of, this is my opinion, by the way.
Yeah.
I notice a lot of brands like try to use memes to appeal to the kids nowadays. But most of the time it can end up really cringy and like, oh, that was not used correctly. And I feel like if they get someone on the marketing team that is our age and knows what we're interested in, then they would have more success than trying to like appeal to the kids. But it's like, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
When they try, and it's like, for example, if like a 35-year-old person would try to make a meme for 20-year-olds, and it just doesn't really, it's not that funny.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
That's a good point. I always tell our clients when they're asking about content and they're asking about social media, I always say, sit down, take a deep breath, and then turn your phone on and go to Facebook, go to Instagram, go to Twitter, go to those places and look at what you look at. Now, post that same thing on your business pages. And they're going to say, you must be crazy. And then I say, but at least someone will be looking. And that's really what it ends up coming down to, is most people try to sell on social media. And the minute you stop selling and you start giving, I feel like is where you guys will then go, okay, you pass, you get in. We're going to let you in.
Yeah.
The guys and gals that are trying to sell to you, they're not getting past that wall. Just not going to happen. You have to be earned, right? And that's what I was talking about, earning that loyalty. You guys need to see that loyalty. Do something nice, right? So I think there's a couple companies that do that, right? Like for every water bottle they sell, they send a water bottle, here. Or like I think is it Tom's that does that with their shoes, right? For every shoe that they sell, they send another shoe. Those types of brands, that if I could give you, one piece of advice from a brand standpoint, for everything that you sell and you give back, man, I can tell you're going to earn major loyalty points with your generation with that. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I've been pushing Nick for that for quite a long time, but I've tried to keep myself involved in some of the things that I'm involved with from giving back and trying to get out there. Like we said, we went to the Susan G. Komen thing, and then the UE of Empowerment for Maryland for the Food Project and things like that. So we're trying to do as much as we possibly can. So both great points in earning the loyalty of the 20-year-old. That's really what this is all about, guys. This is to try to kind of open up. If you guys are business owners, trying to open up and let you guys understand that these 20-year-olds are extremely intelligent. They're much more intelligent and much more focused than we were when we were 20. I can assure you of that. Very seldom. You could not get me to come into an internship at 20 years old. Just wasn't going to happen. In fact, it's 12 in the afternoon here. I probably wasn't even awake yet. Nick can back me up on that. It's just, we're just dealing with a completely different kind of person now. And I feel like you guys have got to evolve yourselves from that standpoint. Try to think back to this episode, and I want you to remember some of the things that you heard. Advertisements, TV, radio. Here's the thing, guys. If you're not tracking that ROI on there and you're not seeing it, are you gonna be? What could you be doing with that money right now to invest in your business to grow it over the next 10 years? These guys are telling you Spotify, YouTube, Facebook from a brand awareness standpoint, Instagram from a brand awareness standpoint, Twitter from a news standpoint to talk about your business quickly. We didn't talk too much about Snapchat, but I think that's more of like a personal social media say for you guys, right? I mean, that's not as much from a business standpoint. I don't think you'll expect that to be. But I feel like Instagram is the big up and comer. And one of the things that I truly believe this is one thing that I think, but you might think differently. I'm spending a lot more time in stories than I am in the newsfeed. I don't know, Adrian, did we agree with that, or did you disagree with me on that one?
I disagree.
Okay, you spend more time in the news feed than you do in stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Molly, you spend more time in stories than you do in the news feed, right?
Yes.
So 2 out of 3, we win, you lose, Adrian. Sorry. No, I'm just joking. I called a shot, like I think it was probably like 2-3 months ago, about I feel like stories are where Instagram and Facebook are going to end up. I feel like that's the culture that we're moving towards, especially with Facebook Watch kind of growing there. Instagram's toying with the notion of extending stories out further than that 45 seconds, or newsfeed videos out further than that 45 seconds. Agree with it, disagree with it. There's some people that don't want that. They want to, my assumption would be that Adrian was one of those people who's like, I can't believe Twitter's extending their count. How dare they do that extra 20 points or 120 points? But you never know. Like, I mean, the thing is that these platforms have got to consistently evolve. I know when Snapchat did their update to their software, they lost me.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be lost by them, but the simplicity of the application, to me, it got convoluted with the usage.
Mm-hmm.
It just got convoluted. And I'm starting to get myself back into learning the platform again, but of course they're probably going to change it again anyway. So that's the one thing I want to bring back to you guys, and in the light of this, is that your commercials are not reaching them. Okay, just stop selling on the commercials. Okay, consider it brand awareness. Don't expect an ROI on radio commercials. Don't expect an ROI on your TV commercials. It's just, unless you're making them interactive with some sort of AI, you're not going to get that back. Okay. If it's just not going to happen. So if you want brand awareness, go live, talk, communicate with these people, ask them questions, engage with them. That's what they want to see, as well as give back. They want to see you guys giving back And if you give back, they will be loyal to you. That's one thing that I can guarantee you. They will support the people that are supporting other people. That's what they want to say. I can tell you this. When these kids get out of college, the people that have jobs right now are in big trouble. Big trouble. Because what they're going to be bringing to the table is they're going to be bringing to the table the evolution of business and how things changed. From an experience standpoint, they may not have the experience yet, but they're going to get it because guess what? At 20 years old, they're in here interning and they're spending their time in offices and going to meetings, and they're not spending their times in bars like we did. And that's the big difference here. I did want to touch on this before we get off. I took you guys to that meeting, right? With a pretty big client. You heard numbers flying around and things of that nature. That was the real world. That was a meeting in the real world. Give me your opinion of what your expectations. Did you know that that's how things actually go down in the real world in business?
For me, no. That was like an eye opener. Like I sat through that whole meeting just like super like overwhelmed by the numbers. And you know, in school they just teach you like it's just about what you put on your social media that reaches the people, but you don't learn about the numbers behind it.
Sure.
And like all the financial stuff and everything that comes along with it. So to hear that was just like, wow, it's way more than what I thought it was.
Yeah. Adrian?
Yeah, I agree. I kind of gave myself a headache because it was so overwhelming. I guess no one really tells you what's going to be in the meeting and what they're going to talk about. And I found it really interesting, but also overwhelming that there was just so many like figures and numbers flying around, like AdWords, like what you need to pay attention to when you're like typing up something and what results come up when you Google search. And it's kind of like, wow, I did not know all of that goes into this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's, you know, here's the great thing is that Facebook and Google make it very, very easy for you guys to go out and educate yourselves. They have courses that you guys can take. They have certifications that you guys can get. If you're 20 years old and you're not in college like these two, and you're looking for something that would be equivalent, in my opinion, to a degree, and this is, again, my opinion, to a degree, if you come to me and you're Google certified in AdWords and you're Facebook certified in Ads Manager and Business Manager, I'm going to probably hold that in a little bit of a higher weight because the other stuff I can teach you. Business is a lot different than what they teach you in college, I assure you. Because I went to college, I took business courses. They don't prepare you for the things, some of the things that you're going to go up against, the stress that you're going to be under, the pressures that are put on you by clients and things of that nature. There is no expectations for that. There's no course that can be taught for that. That's basically just experience. But there are things that you guys can do to self-educate yourselves. And one of the things that you pointed out was a great point. YouTube is a great place for you to be able to go self-educate yourself and learn something. And you guys can do that. And I feel like there's a lot of really good content out there to help do that. So that would be one thing that I would love to see from you guys is leave this internship when you guys do leave. And I'll be sad. But when you guys do leave this internship, that you guys are more prepared to go into that work world. That'll make me feel like I did my job as the person that was helping to guide you. Make sense?
Yeah.
Molly, Adrian, thank you so much for being my 20-year-old guinea pigs for my podcast. I greatly appreciate it. I respect both of you. I think you guys are doing a great job as interns. I also really respect both your opinions. Some of them I disagree with, but I respect them wholeheartedly because I like how different they are. But I feel like at the end of the day, the bottom line comes down to that you guys come from a great generation. I feel like your generation has been mislabeled from other generations, just like many generations have come before you, just so you know. And I think that you guys are going to do some great things. And I think you guys are off to a great start. Cool.
Yeah,
all right. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it.
This has been a Todd Collins official production in conjunction with Platinum Reputations. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Todd Collins Official or visit us at www.toddcollinsofficial.com. Want to be on the show or become a sponsor? Message us on Facebook and tell us why.